Hi guys, I'd rather be fishing, but we're on lockdown, so I'm going to make some carp leads today. Been making them for about 40 years, back in the day for salmon fishing, and now carp fishing. Reason I do it, down to money really. Top brands charging you anything from 150 to 180 a lead, and we're all doing these lead release systems. Cost you a bloody fortune. So I make these ingots, mince pie mould, molten slag lead that I get off mainly anglers that work on roofing. There's no church roofs involved, by the way. Mates in the plumbing trade, they'll give me some scrap lead and ask if I can make them some lead. So basics of what you need: your lead moulds. There's a few guys do videos making leads and they're using the metal clamps. So I'm using plastic clamps, but the way I do it is use the wood, and that way I don't have to use your big gloves. I don't burn my hands. I'm using plastic clamps to hold the mould shut, but we'll show that as we go through. So you need gas, you need a ladle, you need your lead. So that's my £2 ladle from, I think it was B&M or something like that. My gas from when I go fishing. Now in the winter, your gas, you don't get no flame off it, so I end up bringing loads of cans home and taking a full one next time we go in the winter. So what I do, because the reason your gas doesn't work is it freezes around the edge of the can. You've probably seen that. So stick it in a maggot tub, add some water, and you'll get to use all the gas that's in that can. Another ingredient you need, I like the big-eyed swivel. Gives you plenty of movement on your lead, and your lead clips. Get them off eBay. I get 1,000 of each at a time. Saves you an absolute fortune. Works out, I think, if you make them on your own, you can make them for around about 20p. Your lead coating powders, again off eBay. Come in a litre tub. I think they're about a tenner a tub, but you'll make thousands of leads out of them. But this video, to start with, we're just going to show you how we actually make the leads. Other guys on videos, I've noticed, they water cool their leads. I used to do it, but you can get them blowing up in your face, because when you reheat the lead to put your coating powder on it, what you'll end up with, you'll hear it hissing out the water that's gone inside the lead, and that lead can explode. So what I do, used to make my own boilies, and that was for me pop-ups. So I put the leads on the drying rack, and you see the water underneath. We'll come to that when we coat the leads later on, but we'll just do a few samples. Get these moulds off eBay, about 20 quid a piece. Yeah, you might think it costs a lot, but long term you're saving a fortune. I've preheated these moulds, so they are a little bit warm, and the idea of that is that makes your lead flow. Molten lead hits cold surface, blocks your tubes, and you're not going to fill them in. They come with little grooves for you to put your lead clip and swivel in. So you get your sister to the mould, or the other half, hold the wood, plastic clamp, and that is then ready to pour. So that's a 4-ounce distance on that one. These are the same, but they're, well, same, they're 3 ounce, these ones are. Same again, hold the wood, make sure they're all lined up, get the clamp on, and again that's ready to pour. Now these moulds aren't perfect, you get slag bits, but we'll show you how you clean the leads up later on. And for this one, to speed things up a little bit.
So why do you make your own leads then, Dunk?
It's to save money. It's just that. And if you look on the side, you'll see there's a few I made earlier. Now you've got your rough coating, which some people prefer, because your rough coating on these leads, as Chris has just shown you. Chris, the cameraman, he's a fellow carp fisherman. You got your rough coating, and in your lead bag you will over time get loads of little bits of coating powder that come off, but the actual coating will stay on. And I can show you what I call a scratch test. So there's your shop one. I'll hide the logo. get your screw, and straight away straight through to the lead underneath. So you know, a few times across gravel and everything, not what I want. And then these are the ones that we make. Scratch test, just as firm, and you're struggling to get through to the lead because they're all double coated. So I know that lead's going to last me the whole season, unless, you know, I'm lucky enough for a carp to shake it off. So we've got the molten lead. If you're looking there, it starts to go a little bit golden. Well, that's telling you lead's really hot. When it's molten, it's silver. When it's really hot, it gets that little golden sheen on it, which you want, because when you pour the lead, it should flow a lot better. So put her up to the mould. And take your time with this, don't rush it, because you'll bung the holes up and you'll end up with a slag lead. So let's see how that one worked out. Leave the lead back on the heat, add your next ingot to it, or any scrap lead you've got.
So where do you get your scrap lead from as well then?
Mainly from anglers, I know, in the trade. You know, they work with lead, roofers, plumbers. They'll drop me some lead off and say, oh, can you do me a few? And that's what you get if you get a cold mould. So we've got one nice one there, and that one is slag, but it's not wasted. Nothing's wasted when it comes to lead. I can use that all again. What I'll do is just with plier cutters. We've got one good one. Put that there for drying and we'll tidy that up later, and I'll show you in a bit how we sort that mess out. There's wifey.
So what gas do you use then?
Any old fishing gas. What's left in the tub, bang it in the water, get every last gram of gas out that cow.
So where do you buy all your coating powders from then?
They're off eBay, as I've already said earlier in the video.
Oh,
Cameraman's losing the plot here. As I said about the slag lead, that's what I get given by the roofing guys. So for that stuff, the big burner comes out. That goes in the big pot. There's some old cans I've already used for making leads. Use a ladle, put it in the mince pies, cool them down, and that's me stuff that's nice and clean for melting in the shed. You've got to be aware gas, the fumes off lead are very toxic. In here, my shed, it's like a wind tunnel. Got a door there and that door's open, and the breeze just goes through nicely, taking the nasty fumes away.
So how do you make all the different colours?
Different colours is how you vary how much green you put in, how much black you put in, how much brown you put in. And if you want your beach fishing, you get nice sandy ones ready made for you on eBay. That's mine. That's a mixture of the greens, browns and blacks. And we'll melt some leads, we'll make some leads, and then we'll coat them after, show you how you do that. As you can see, the moulds aren't perfect, they don't line up exact, but the lead we've made pretty clean. We just tap that down with a pair of pliers, and that one's pretty much ready to coat, but we'll come to that probably on the next video. So here's the lead that didn't work out. Put that in your molten lead. It takes a few seconds, but it will melt down, and you get your lead clip and your swivel back as well to reuse. So leave that there to go cold. We'll come back to that one. So our second pour. Hopefully we get 2 leads from 1 mould this time. Pop the ladle back on the holder. Give it a tap to release it from the mould. And hey presto. You can see all the slag around the edges of the lead there. Don't worry about that, we'll show you how you clean that up. And that's basically because the moulds don't line up exact like they should do. I have got, this is a mould I got from America, wooden handles, which is great. And that's for a standard 2-ounce pair. On that one, that's how your lead and swivel lie in. So the bottom of your swivel actually goes inside the lead as well. But that's great there, you can make 5 at a time. I tend to use those for the naked shot. Nice little 2-ounce quiet when you're casting it out rather than these big 4s and other leads that we'd be using. So that mould now, you can really feel the heat coming off it. That's the one I've just salvaged. So just pull that lead off there, now it's cooled. And that goes in and I'll reuse it. Make sure it all lines up as best as it can. Clamp on and that's ready to have another pour. You see the golden sheen that lead, you know that lead's really hot. Just enough. Put a couple of ingots back on. Open the mould up, and did we get 2? No, we didn't quite get the 2 there. As you can see, we run out of lead towards the end, so that's just my fault for not putting enough in there and trying to have it videoed at the same time. But we got one good one. And that one will do the same as what we did before and malt it down into the mould. Do you want to stop that there? So Chris has asked me to do him a couple of 3-ounce flat pairs. So warm the mould up. You know, when you make 20-30 leads, it's so much easier, but your first few are always the tricky ones. Should be warm enough. We'll soon see when we pour it. Same again, you've got your grooves. Drop your swivel in. While I'm waiting, what I normally do is grab a few swivels, and they're all big eye swivels, and put them on there ready. So while I'm waiting for lead to mould, I normally hang a few of them up. So same thing with wood. Match them up, clamp, that lead's nice and hot. And you hear that crackling away, that's just because the lead mould's not fully up to heat. But I think we got 2 3/8 out of that. Let's have a look, give it a tap. And there we have. Again, there's a bit of slag around there, but I'll show you how we clean that up. And for now, we'll turn the gas off and join us in the next part. So, you've got your leads, and you need to clean them up ready to put the coating on. So, I just got a pair of tin snips, quid Sunday market. Your twig lips box, all the bits of slag go in there and it'll all get remelted down. So when the mould was warmer, you wouldn't get as much as this, but you just tin snip it round. And you'll see this lead once it's coated, so you'll see that all this disappears.
So what does it all cost then to make all these leads?
Probably making your own leads for 20p. If that. You know, if you work in the trade and you've got your own spare lead, sometimes you know I bung the lads a few quid to get some lead off them. So pair of long nose pliers, I've angle grinded the tips off because I want that swivel to free move, and obviously it's not going to free move with air, or when we coat it you don't want to be careful, you don't want it on the swivel or on your loop, because you want that swivel to move freely. So you can file them down, I know lads that do file them down, but you'll see when they're coated that you won't see any lumps and bumps on that. Same, you want the foot where it was joined, just tap down any sticky hairy bits. I'm only doing a few because the video will be about 5 hours long, because that's how long I normally take when I'm in the shed making leads, if I can't go fishing. So get the slag off. You will get a couple of irritating pieces that won't come out really easily. Like that one. Typical, when I'm doing it on video I get the one that will not. There we go, cleared that out. Tap down your ridges. Clean your loop. Takes a bit of time this. I normally make a load up and then go through and clean them all and have a pile ready for coating, because swapping from one to the other all the time. All your bits back in your twiglets pot. We'll melt that down another time. So still got the gas in the water because I want to use every last piece. Get your pliers. Now where your swivel is, you need to hold that in place, because the last thing you want is coating powder all over there. You'll lose the free movement of your swivel. So you can see, you'll actually see the lead change colour slightly. Obviously you don't hold it on there too long because you'll end up melting your lead, which I have had happen. So you've done the one side. Takes a few seconds to warm it back up, and what that'll do is when the melting, the powder will melt around that lead. So some guys, they just put them in the tub and then just put a spoon and coat in over the top. I'll actually dip it in there 4 times, so that's 4 passes through the powder, and as you can see it melt in there to go with shiny colour. Make sure you do both sides. Now if I just drop that lead into water, I'm going to get a flat spot, so swizz it about, let it cool a little bit first on the outer shell, and then just let it slide down, and just leave that there while you get on with your others. So Chris wants some of the fluffy coating, so we'll do this one as a fluffy. We might have to swap cans of gas here because this is getting down the very bottom. So let it go in your coating powder and you'll see it's just got a dusting on it really. And if I kept that in there, that would go shiny. So now back in the coating powder and wait for it to start to turn dark, and then straight in to cool it. Exactly the same, let it slide down in. So that's got 2 coats, and the fluffy powder, I find it does take up a bit of the bottom smell of where you're fishing. So can it be an advantage? Who knows? So yeah, some of the guys will stand there holding that lead up and they'll put a blowtorch on it, which is fine, but everyone's got their own way of doing it. I'm not telling you how to make your leads, I'm just showing you how I make mine. And any kids out there, make sure you get your parents to give you a hand with this, because it's molten lead you're dealing with, so you've got to be careful, and of course the flame. So this one, it's gone through, and we're going to have this one as a shiny coat. So all you do, any rough lead you've got, if you want to put it back over heat, you can turn a rough fluffy lead into a smooth coated lead, and it's just how much heat you give it. You'll see the bits just here haven't quite melted, but as the lead gets warmer it will. And as you can see, I haven't got any on the eye, so that gives you your swivel, your free movement. Okay, so your leads have been in there, they've cooled down now. So all those bumps and everything you've seen, as you can see, they're gone. Nice lead, no numbers on it, carp don't read numbers, and looks quite greenish at the moment, but they will dry out a different colour because obviously the water affects them. So any questions guys, just stick them. If I can answer them and help you out in any way at all, I will. If not, Google a man that can. Tight lines boys.